Hey, everybody. Did you like how I just did my own theme song just there? I hope you did. Jay here with a quick interruption. I don't have ads, so I'm going to advertise myself in the middle of this podcast. Why not? This is somewhere north of 300 episodes when you're listening to this. And golly gee, it has been a journey. And I appreciate you coming with me on that journey for this whole time that you've been here. Maybe you've been here from the beginning. Maybe you've been here since like an episode ago. I'm just glad you're here. But I do have to say this. We here at Blockbusting, and there's literally a we. Chorkin, come around to the other side of the camera so we can see. Look, guys, I got a staff now, all right? I got interns, okay? I got producers. I got stuff to handle here at the space that I record at and elsewhere. And I want to be able to pay these people. And I, unfortunately, do not make the kind of money to pay these people myself. And that's where I hope that you can come in by supporting the Blockbusting Patreon. Yes, that's right. We've got a Patreon. I haven't plugged it in a bit, but I'm going to start plugging it heavy now because why not? I want to pay these folks, all right? And you can support the podcast for just as low as $1 a month, all right? $1 a month goes back into the show. I'm not even paying myself. I don't care about paying myself for this podcast. I care about giving a little something back to the people who help me out because I'm getting a lot of help from people these days, and they deserve a little something for their efforts beyond just my eternal thanks and gratitude, which they're going to get anyway. So you can subscribe for $1 a month. You start getting access to bonus content from me, like I'm posting episodes of my game show Wrong that I'm doing here in Los Angeles that I'm not posting to the public. I'll start posting bonus episodes of me talking about stuff again. What's Good with Jay Light, where I just talk about what I liked that I saw on the television and the internet and stuff these days, because that's how you do for Patreon. We still have the JFlix level, the $5 tier, where you can get access to my full film, television, comedy special library. That's just $5 a month. It's cheaper than pretty much every streaming service out there, except for, I guess, Apple TV is $5 a month. And they have Severance and Ted Lasso, so you really can't go wrong there. And they got Coda. I mean, Coda, what a delight. But you know what I've got? Xanadu. And nobody else has that. Pfft, duh. I've got A Day Without a Mexican, Los Digits' least favorite movie. You listen to that episode, it's a great episode. But you just got to watch the movie, which I have on JFlix for $5 a month. I got a bunch of weird stuff. So go consider, please, subscribing to the Patreon for Blockbusting. The link is in the show notes. Or you can just go type into your little web browser right now, tippity tap it into patreon.com/blockbusting. Again, that is patreon.com/blockbusting. And your support will go to helping me throw a little cash the way of the fine folks who help make this podcast happen. That's all I'm asking is you throw me a little something so I can throw them a little something. Okay, we're going direct. Because, you know, this is like thoughts and prayers with guns. Like, saying thanks is only going to do so much. I want to give them cash, okay? At least buy them a coffee or something. Patreon.com/blockbusting. You can join and support for as little as $1 a month. And that's all there is, folks. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hold on. I'm getting into the podcast zone. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, Hunter Patterson.
Jay, thank you so much for having me,
So
man.
happy to have you. You reached out to me with an incredible take.
Yes. As incredible as it is unpopular, I mean,
Yeah.
I tell people my hatred of this movie, and I might as well have punched their grandma right in front of them because they look at me like I did punch their grandma right in front of them. It's It's unpopular. I'm on the wrong side of history.
You're punching everybody's grandma for sure with this movie. Everybody who has a grandparent has watched this on Turner Classic Movies with their grandparent or at their grandma's house.
Oh yeah, I remember this was one of those movies where movies used to have intermissions. And this movie had an intermission.
Yes.
And I remember watching it on TV, and they would do the intermission on like TV. And I told my mom was the one who always made me watch all these old musicals. And I remember seeing the intermission, and I was like, what am I supposed to do?
You get up, you go pee or go get some water.
I guess, but I'm like just sitting on the couch. I can go pee anytime I want. It was so weird that like, they don't do that in movie. I want to say like, yeah, they haven't done that in like 40 years. I wish they brought that back.
They only have it in Hamilton. It's the most recent one that I've seen it in.
Yeah.
But that's probably the most innovative thing about this movie is that it does have an intermission in it, and they should bring back intermissions in long ass movies, given that we are now moving the goalpost of the length of movie from like an hour and a half is long. Mm-hmm. It's like as long as it's going to be to all movies are 2 hours now.
3 hours. I remember Titanic was
superhero movies are 3 hours.
Yeah. I remember Titanic was over 2 hours and people were like, how can you?
Titanic is multiple VHSs. That's how long it is.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The movie we're talking about today is not The Princess Diaries, which is what I have pulled up here on my Wikipedia.
Though it is also it does share a star.
That's why I looked it up. It's because we got Julie Andrews, who is the star of The Sound of Music from 1965. American musical drama film produced and directed by Robert Wise, starring Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer, an adaptation of the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical of the same name. Hammerstein or Hammerstein?
I've always said Hammerstein, but
I think it's Hammerstein.
But it's funny, Danny Kaye in White Christmas says Hammerstein, so who knows?
Who knows? It is widely regarded as one of the best movies of all time.
One of those best beloved movies of all time.
It received 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. It received Best Motion Picture and Best Actress at the Golden Globes. It is listed as the 55th greatest American film of all time by the American Film Institute in the Library of Congress National Film Registry, the 4th greatest film musical. Outstanding director by the Directors Guild. Outstanding written musical by the Writers Guild of America, which is an award they don't even give anymore.
Yeah. And I can't stand it.
Yes. Yeah. What's your fucking deal?
It's okay. So
why are the hills not alive with The Sound of Music for you?
The hills are alive in the fact that Captain Von Trapp is a sociopath. And first of all, the guy he was based off of, George Von Trapp, was a submarine captain in the Austro-Hungarian Navy in World War I.
Yes.
And he committed what we would like to call war crimes, in that he broke records for the number of like civilian cargo vessels he sank.
I don't think we like calling it war crimes.
No,
but that is the technical term for it.
It was war crimes, and he was the best at it. He was so good at it that like he not that good. Austro-Hungary, of course, lost and dissolved.
But good enough to be war hero and get a big fancy house.
Oh, yeah, a huge house.
Afford to have 7 children.
7 kids. Have a governess.
Yeah. Multiple governess. Governai.
Yeah, he kept running through. His kids kept running through him.
Yeah, his kids hated all of the governesses.
Yes, because he didn't know how to be a father. And so the problem is there has to be a character who changes over the movie. Nobody changes. Nobody improves over the movie. Captain Von Trapp starts the movie as a cold, angry man looking out for himself.
Wait a minute.
And he ends the movie as a cold, angry man looking out for himself.
This is incorrect on all fronts.
No, it's not, though. It's not.
Okay. First of all, Julie Andrews' character, Maria, she changes because she goes from being scared and hiding in the nunnery. What's the proper term for that? Not the sisterhood. Is it a nunnery?
I think nunnery is correct.
I feel like nunnery is an abbey.
Abbey.
An
yeah.
abbey. Yes. A nunnery is like the super old Shakespearean term for it. I feel like we're at abbey status now.
Abbey is the progressive, the
Abby's
1930s,
1930s
version. Yeah.
By the way, I love that this movie opened. I haven't seen this movie since I was a literal child.
Yeah.
And I do love that it opens up with the golden years of the late 30s. So it's really like, we're going to be in some ominous shit. Yeah. Like we're about
it was not, first of all, it was not golden years for who? I mean, the Nazi party was in full, like, they were kicking everybody's butt.
Yeah.
Like, it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to take over Europe.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And Austria was like, just like Germany had suffered devastating effects after World War I, was like economically devastated.
We're in a real Weimar Republic situation.
Quite literally.
Yes.
And so, okay, I want to refute the whole Julie Andrews changes thing. Again,
She does change.
she becomes a stepmother. That's the biggest change.
Not just that, she decides to it's literally all of the songs that they do reprises of, where it's like you have to climb every mountain, you have to live your life, you have to actually seek out the life you want to live. She does it, and she goes back and she kicks out the weird rich lady who all the kids hate, and the dad comes around and is like, you know what, I should actually love my children, and I'm going to love my children enough to potentially sacrifice myself for this weird Nazi child.
And in the process of that, so I'm okay. I can forgive the movie up until the final act. The final act, you have multiple people sacrificing themselves for the Von Trapp family, assured of their death. All the nuns who sabotaged the car, for sure going to get killed. Max Detweiler, they're
going to get executed in front of the Abbey by all those Nazis have guns for sure.
They're going to kill him and burn the Abbey down.
They're in uniform.
Max Detweiler, the guy they call him Uncle Max. He's like their family. He's the comic relief of the whole movie. He basically sacrifices himself and like acts as a human shield to distract the Nazis so the Von Trapps can escape. He probably dies too. So this movie ends with the Von Trapps going over the mountains and they're like, la, 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 everything's great. But like, yeah, at the time you think about it, it's great. But the implication is like 12 people are going to get executed just so this guy doesn't have to go fight in the Navy. Like, it bothers me that nobody else sees this, that like, this is a inherently selfish man. The family was going to be fine. They were going to be protected. Austria wasn't even really touched during World War II. Nothing bad would have happened to him. Maybe he would have died at war. So what? He would have died a hero's death. But instead, he sacrifices his best friends. He sacrifices the women who have like supplied him with free labor for a decade, all because he doesn't want to fight.
Do you feel like we as the audience are supposed to like him more because he's resisting the Nazis, and that is supposed to be enough to gloss over this fact?
One of the most iconic things is like him. They put the Nazi flag up at his house. He comes back, he tears it. So this came out in like 1964, 65.
Yeah.
So there was definitely people who went nuts when that was like,
that's the same level. Did you see Inglourious Bastards in theaters?
Yeah.
When Hitler gets shot and the theater gets set on fire, everybody loses their minds in the theater. When I remember seeing that, I feel like we probably got the same level of reaction.
No, it was because it's cool. And I'm not doubting that we stand an anti-fascist king, but
we do.
But
yes,
but like
yes, Christopher Plummer, yes, Georg,
yes, but he should have. I think he should have. He didn't sacrifice anything, really.
But he was willing to. He came so close to sacrificing himself, and then those rascally nuns took all the items out of the car to keep the cars from running.
Yeah, we also have sinned, and they throw like the carburetor. That thing. I'm not surprised if that Rolf kid probably grabbed that out of the nuns' hands and probably beat to death one of them with it. I mean,
Jesus Christ. This movie is such a family-friendly delight, and full of songs about cuckoos and deer and mountains
and clothes made out of drapes.
Yes,
and
all you can think of is Nazis murdering nuns in an alley.
Yeah, that's all. That's. I wasn't always like this, you know. It's only because I've seen this movie easily 100 times.
Yeah, what was you initially had to have liked this movie, right?
yeah.
It feels like this is a hard movie to not like.
Because I love musicals. I love big old school, like, you know, prestige pictures with great practical sets.
Yes.
And great costumes. It has all the, like,
It really is like,
you know,
one of the things about this movie that I loved is the cinematography.
it's great.
It's so beautiful. It is feeling a little cheat codey because you have, of course, if you're going to do a movie that's got a lot of sweeping shots of the Alps,
yeah.
then it's going to look cool and very good.
But they don't even do that. They aren't even like super gratuitous with
No,
that.
they're
Like,
really not.
It's all in service of the movie, which is more than a lot of other characters are to the movie. I don't know. So like, and from that, I respect the filmmaking behind it, you know?
Yes.
But the plotting, and I know it's a musical and you shouldn't care about the plot that much in a musical, but just those moments where it's just so obvious that there is this dark undercurrent that you're not supposed to think about. And it's all I can think about.
This is it. So what point in your like career of watching this movie did you start to really be like, why is no one talking about the dark undercurrent of this?
I'll tell you why. It was during the Carrie, when they, remember that there was a string of movies when they were doing like live adaptations of musicals.
Oh
on TV.
yeah, I think they're still doing that a little
Yeah.
bit. It's definitely, it was a phase for a while.
Yeah. And so they did, Carrie Underwood played Maria, and Captain Von Trapp was played by, I don't remember.
Oh, I don't even remember
He
this.
was the vampire. He was the main vampire from True Blood.
I don't know. I'm going to look this
Yeah.
up because I feel like this seems like a 30 Rock sketch that you have just thrown at me. Carrie Underwood doing
it's
version
real.
of
It's real.
The Hales Are Alive.
I mean,
with
honestly,
the
it's
sound of music. Let's see. Go on.
So-
don't mind me.
I watch it and I don't like it, and I get to the end of it and I'm thinking about like the Nazis and the nuns, and there's something about it. I don't know. It probably just, I was in a bad mood at the time. I was in a bad relationship.
Okay.
And I was just like, there's something in this that doesn't click. And I just think about it and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Like, the Von Trapps sacrificed like all these people just so they could escape to Switzerland. Like, and it clicks. And then once I see it was like one thing unravels,
Right.
The whole thing kind of just falls apart.
The can of worms has been opened.
and I see this movie for like how problematic it is.
This is okay. Just a fun fact, by the way, about the Sound of Music Live. So it starred Carrie Underwood and Stephen Moyer.
Yeah.
is the lead vampire guy. Broadcast December 5th, 2013. They had some logistical issues. Julie Andrews apparently was endorsed Carrie Underwood's casting, but it's because Carrie Underwood asked for Julie Andrews to sign off on it, so that doesn't seem like that much of an endorsement, actually,
Yeah.
now that I think about it. The production was mixed with mixed reviews. Much of its criticism was directed towards the casting of Carrie Underwood to play Maria, whom critics believed was not experienced enough in theater to portray such an iconic role. Her vocal performance was praised. Her acting was described by critics as amateur, lifeless, and lacking emotion. The production was a ratings success for NBC with a total of 18.62 million live viewers. Brought the network its highest Thursday night viewership for an entertainment program since, do you have any guesses?
I don't know, the Dallas finale.
No, since the series finale of Frasier in 2004.
The series finale of Frasier.
That's the one. That's what this beat the series finale of Frasier.
Wow. That's
A height that had not been topped. And nay shall ever be topped.
Nay shall ever be topped. I don't. Yeah. I mean, that just shows you how far TV's fallen off. You know, like it used to be 18 million. That used to be nothing on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like they used to get that for if your show didn't get 18 million, they would like cancel you.
Mm-hmm. Now you're lucky if your show gets a million.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another show.
Unless it's
ranting about TV.
Yeah. Well, this is not TV busting.
TV busting. It's
blockbusting. Okay. So I guess here's another question for you.
Yeah.
In this vein. I think this is an interesting critique. This is like a critique of the movie that I don't think it can come from somebody who is like not taking a sort of scholarly approach to it. Like you've really watched this movie a lot. Like you understand this genre, you understand this movie.
Yeah.
You don't have a problem with the casting. You
Not
don't
at
have any
all.
problem. This is just like pure, like we're talking story perspective
Yeah,
here.
a story, like just a breakdown, and like, and here's the deal: they obviously do a good job of getting people to suspend disbelief because nobody else talks about this. You know,
It feels like it's a happy ending.
it's not.
It feels like it though.
It feels, and they're and I'll say this: they do a great job of that. They do a great job of you see the family. They're singing, climb every mountain for it. They're singing this great song at the end, and yeah. Oh, you think okay, cool? They go to Switzerland. Wait, what happened to all the other people? Oh yeah. I guess
that's right.
they're probably dead.
How did they? Oh, they just been traipsing through the mountains, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Also, they're not dirty; they're totally clean.
they're all in the same matching outfits that even though they ran through a graveyard, they're still in the same beautiful matching outfits they did the night before.
Look, sure, we can poke all the plot holes we want. This is a musical. Musicals are always full of plot holes because they have to be by design.
Yes.
Everybody's wearing the same matching outfits. There's no literal holes in their clothing. There's literally no plot holes in their actual
no plot
items.
holes.
There is, for some reason, everybody knows all of the songs in the movie all the time.
I can forgive that. That's just like
That's musicals 101.
That's what the world. But even actually, funny enough, here I'll play a compliment to Sound of Music. Even that isn't really. Even that is because there's actually these moments where you see Maria teaching them the songs.
Right.
So even that is not necessarily kind of, you don't have to suspend disbelief.
The
there.
one time was when Captain Von Trapp started singing The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Which I was like, how does he know this song?
Yeah, how does
Did
he
he
know
just
that?
pick up on this from the kids?
He had not sang. It was a huge moment because he had not sang, he had forbidden. He had forbidden singing in his house.
He's putting them in this footloose house.
Yeah.
No singing, no happiness.
Yeah.
They come by whistle.
They're dogs. He's basically treated his children like dogs. And like, I don't know, like, and then they're just all supposed to like love him and forgive him for that. Like, do you think there was like a conversation when they got to Switzerland that was like, hey dad, I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we survived the Nazis. What was with the whistles, man? That was weird. That was weird.
There's a significant time jump that happens between when the final like straw in the Baroness and Captain Von Trapp's relationship comes down where she's like telling him like, I'm going to get you all this nice stuff because you're going to be my husband. And he's like, I don't give a shit. I'm not into this anymore. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he marries Maria and they kiss in the same place where Rolf and Liesel kissed.
Yeah. Well, they have this moment where they like kind of admit that they love each other. And like, that's actually kind
It's
of
really nice.
That's a sweet earned moment. I know I'm supposed to like be back, but like 90% of this movie is great.
Yes.
Great, like genuinely great. But it's just that last 10% that is so bad and is so like just awful to me just to understand. I can't forgive it. I can't watch it again and not think about that.
Do you have any problems with any of the other characters besides Captain Von Trapp? Because it sounds like he's bearing the brunt of your disdain for this story.
He's the villain in the movie, which he's not obviously the
But
Nazis.
he is. Yeah.
And like
the Nazis are an existential threat. They're not really the villain.
yeah, no. They are
Until they become not existential.
Yeah,
Until
yes.
they become an what's what's the right way to say that? Interstitial threat?
Interstellar. They become an
They
interstellar.
become an interstellar threat.
Threat.
Christopher Nolan sends them through a bookcase,
He travels through time. That's how they know. That's how they know how to do the puppets.
and that's how they know all the songs.
I mean, the kids are forgettable. I'll say this: the kids are completely forgettable as actors.
Yeah.
Even Liesel's not that good. Like she has that creepy song with like you're 16 going on 17, baby. Yeah, and Rolf is just like he's creepy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's original Proud Boy.
Yeah,
And
he's a Crystalia fan. He's got some
for
Snapchats
sure.
that are questionable.
Oh, he's got some. He definitely has texted some girls that
for sure. Telegrammed. He's telegrammed. He's
yeah.
telegrammed for nudes.
Yes. Da, 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 da. Come on, let me see them. I won't share. Stop.
Why are you holding out? Stop.
Yeah, don't be a bitch. Stop. I thought you were cool. Stop. No, I like. Okay, so and obviously everybody's
WYD. Stop.
Yeah, you up. Stop. I think Baroness Schrader gets a bad rap in this movie.
She was the actress who played her was nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars, Best Supporting Actress.
I believe that.
She does a good job.
She does a great job, and I think there's this moment where she obviously tries to manipulate Maria, and she does. She successfully manipulates Maria to quit and go back to the Abbey and stuff. Mm-hmm. But like, I think at the end of the day, I think she could have been a good match for Von Trapp, and allowed him to continue his like just cranky whistleblowing ways. He didn't like Maria. Here's the real reason he didn't like Maria. He made him connect with his kids. He made him actually get to know his kids.
Yeah, he hated his kids.
And he resented them. Probably because he couldn't, let's be honest, 8 kids. Now
7 kids.
7 kids, sorry. 7 kids.
Unless there's a kid who he drowned also that we don't know about, which given this guy, plausible.
It's completely plausible. In the real life, his wife who mothered all these children, she died of scarlet fever. So it's not, so he's probably bitter that like he had all these kids and, basically weakened his wife to this point where she has scarlet fever. Mm-hmm. His whole life was wrapped up in a navy for a country that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, yeah. Austro-Hungary.
Yeah, Austro-Hungary, which was like a fragile, even at the time, was a completely very fragile, like, confederation, basically.
Right.
He doesn't have anything, so he can't, he's not in the Navy. There's no Navy for him to be in. So he has to, like, have that discipline and have that, rigidity, and he has to bring it home. He doesn't know how to be a father. He was at sea the whole time.
Is Austria landlocked?
I think, yeah, it is landlocked.
Imagine being a naval hero of a landlocked country.
That's another thing.
What a disaster.
He was a submarine captain, and he can't even get to a submarine anymore. There's no submarine places for him to go. And so so here comes Germany, and they offer him this opportunity. Hey, we're gonna give you a chance to get your glory back.
I wouldn't say offer.
I mean,
he's getting conscripted.
Yeah, they're making the hard. He's like they're not. Well, it's funny. They try to like talk him into it at first, but then there's this whole conversation about we're not German, we're Austrian, blah 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 blah. All this like
he wants to be Austrian. He's proud of what he did.
Yeah, he's proud. He's
proud of the war crimes he committed under the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
And he's like, "Hey, that war's over, man. We signed a treaty. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm set. I'm gonna sit in this giant house. I'm gonna ignore my kids, and I'm just gonna be angry for the next 30 years.
I'm gonna go stow away and fuck this blonde lady for a month.
Yeah, and you guys just hang out and and then he comes like he sees them like back and they're wearing these. I mean, the clothes are hideous. Like, and like he's like, what happened? Like,
I actually feel like those clothes are ahead of their time. I could definitely see outfits like that being sold at the Rose Bowl flea market.
Oh yeah,
or at Melrose Trading Post.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think I saw somebody wearing one of those just walking in here.
I have a bunch of shirts with patterns that are very similar to what those kids were wearing.
I would wear like a tropical Tommy Bahama style shirt.
I'd go wear some like Tommy Bahama lederhosen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very leisurely.
Yeah, lederhosenly, I believe is the term. And so it's just, I feel sorry for this man because his glory is gone. And like the actual story of the Von Trapps, like they lose all their money. They have to move to Vermont.
Really?
This is the real story. They live in Vermont. They live in like relative obscurity, or they become kind of this semi-famous singing family, and that's kind of how they make their money.
All right, because I remember this is based on a real story.
Yeah.
And I know that they did not use the actual story from Maria von Trapp as the basis for this, really.
Yeah.
Like it's in name only.
Yeah.
Is that they used it.
The kids aren't even the same names. Like,
yes.
There's like there's kids named like Helmet and Olga, like names that would not translate well in America.
I feel like Helmet's a good name though. Let's have a kid named Helmet.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. You want to have a kid together named Helmet? That'd be great.
Okay. The Trapp family. Here are the names of the kids. We've got Georg, Maria, Rupert, Agatha, spelled Agathe, Maria Francisca, Werner, Hedvig, Johanna, Martina, and Johannes.
Okay, so I guess instead of Helmet, there was Hedvig.
Hedvig.
Yeah,
what happened to them? They have, history of the group, their later lives. 2 groups of the group died while the group was still active. Georg died at age 67. Martina died in childbirth at age 30 in 1952. Let's see. Oh yeah, they had. Where did they go? Hold on. Yeah, they're in Vermont.
Yeah.
The family settled in Stowe, Vermont in 1941. They purchased a 660-acre farm in 1942 and converted it into the Trapp Family Lodge.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know any of this.
Oh yeah. And I think they've been on so this is like one of Oprah's favorite. I think this might actually be Oprah's favorite movie because she's had the actual Von Trapps on.
This seems like it would be a movie that Oprah would love.
Yeah, she had the original cast on.
Oprah's favorite movie. Keep talking.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've seen this movie upteenth times, and like the more I look into it, I actually do feel bad that I have these takes on this movie. Like I feel a sense of shame. Because it is a movie that so many people have such fond memories of, and they sing it together. Like there was like a whole nother theatrical run of Sound of Music that was just a sing along where they had the lyrics and the bouncing ball underneath it. I mean, it's a fun time.
It's a fun family movie.
Yeah, it's a fun family time, and like I just had to be a cynical bastard. And whenever anyone brings it up, my mom won't talk about the movie with me anymore.
Really?
I upset her. Like I made her. I made her emotional because I was like, Mom, this movie is like
Hunter. Starting fights.
I was like, like all these Nazis. He was like, don't say that. It's not. They escaped it. It was fine. I was like, Mom, I'm sorry.
She got blinders on.
I know.
By the way, Oprah's favorite movie is Terms of Endearment.
Okay.
Her second favorite movie is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which seems odd.
That's a weird 1-2 punch there.
A weird choice.
Those are two weird. I swear that but she definitely did like a reunion show of all the Von Trapp or the cast members.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Now, here's a question for you. All right, like I said, you're approaching this from like a scholarly, like you're learned. You know the angles here.
Yeah.
All right. You know how a couple years ago they did a dark reinterpretation of Oklahoma, the musical?
Yeah, it looks awful.
I saw it recently. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But the whole premise of it is none of the text is changed. None of the songs are changed. It's just that it's done in a much more like stripped down way to focus on the actual darkness in the text of the script. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that is a direction that like any future versions of Sound of Music, because we're going to get another version of Sound of Music at some point. Yeah. All right. We're out of ideas. We're going to recycle all of these at some point. Musicals are going to be in vogue again in probably another like 20 years, assuming that Hollywood is even around that long and can get their shit together.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're going to see the dark, like the Nazis are an actual big problem version of The Sound of Music.
I think because we can't have subtlety anymore. And like the only time you have instead of that powerful moment where you have Captain Von Trapp tearing up the Nazi flag, you're gonna have some monologue, probably from one of the kids, talking about how bad, like just literally just to camera, telling you the Nazis are bad. This is bad.
You're right.
Because because audiences, or I think audiences can. I think Hollywood doesn't know how to make good movies anymore, and so they have to just tell you directly. They have to spell it out.
You know what? I also, because that is happening more and more now, though, I worry that audiences are getting dumber. And
it's learned helplessness for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I worry this because I keep seeing all these YouTube videos pop up in my algorithm of explained and the ending to this movie.
I saw that. I saw that movie Barbarian last night.
And I'm sure you probably got a bunch of Barbarian ending explained.
And I was like, what is there to explain? This
is pretty cut and dry.
It's a pretty straightforward ending.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty straightforward ending.
We know what happened in this movie.
Yeah. But no, I feel like it would be that, and it would be over the top. The Nazis would be a lot more. It wouldn't actually play into what I think is the real dark. I don't think it would. I don't think it could play into the real darkness, because I don't think you could end a movie nowadays with a bunch of nuns getting killed. If Quentin Tarantino did it.
Oh, I would actually love to see Quentin Tarantino's The Sound of Music.
Quentin Tarantino's The Sound of Music.
He's never directed a musical.
No, I think he would be a great musical director.
He's got one left in him. He said he's going to retire after his 10th, and he keeps flip-flopping on, because he said it was going to be a Star Trek movie for a while.
Yeah, and then he said it was going to be Reservoir Dogs, but with an all-black cast.
I think we need Quentin Tarantino to do The Sound of Music.
I'm making a direct plea to you, Quentin Tarantino.
I'm going to do this exact same thing.
Please remake The Sound of Music. I beg of you.
You know that it's going to be the perfect double feature to show at the New Bev alongside Inglourious Basterds. You know that. Why would you do that? You're sacrificing every opportunity to keep all of your Hollywood goodwill intact by not doing this.
Yes. He'll listen to this.
He'll listen to this.
He'll listen to this.
He's going to listen to this.
Yeah. So I don't trust Hollywood to do a good job. I don't trust. Now, funny enough, if a German director or like a Polish director or like one of those, like,
you want to see like Werner Herzog do.
Oh my
The
God.
Sound of Music.
Oh, Werner Herzog. Yeah. Or like whoever did Come and See. If that guy did.
Is Come and See Russian?
That's like Polish, right?
I thought it was
Czech or something.
I thought it was Russian.
Anyways,
Come and See.
If you need some, if you're gonna tell the story right, you do need that layer of darkness.
No, that film's Russian.
Yeah.
Come and See. We need like the guy who did 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good. Yeah.
4 months. Here's what we need. Yeah, we need a real like. We do kind of need. I think we do need a version that like makes it feel a little bit more menacing and threatening.
Yeah, like, you know,
I mean, then family's going to have such a stronger core at the heart of it.
Yeah, because I think if you have these kids singing these songs and in the background you see like, you know, the Nazis rounding people up, you know, I think that's a powerful moment. And it doesn't, you know, there's no BS about I totally forgot about that golden age thing. You know, it's such nonsense. Like, you can, like, they're so close to acknowledging just the pure. But and again, this was early 1960s Hollywood. They weren't making. You know, this was. I'm pretty sure
it's all musical time. I mean, I'm looking at if you look at the winners of Best Picture, it goes like Mary Poppins didn't win. Mary Poppins lost to My Fair Lady, but that's like the year before.
Yeah,
and then you've got this coming in the year after that. Mm-hmm. West Side Stories in the early 60s.
Directed by
director.
Yeah.
This is a time in Hollywood where people wanted the escape still.
Yeah.
And now nobody wants the escape.
Now, yeah, well, it's because the escape is the darkness now.
Yeah.
It's the escape is just seeing something for what it truly is, because we have such a processed, safe existence. I think you have to go to a movie and see something dark and effed up to feel it.
Interesting. I do feel like maybe the pendulum is going to start swinging in the opposite direction in that soon.
I hope so. I would love a earnest. There's so few earnest movies nowadays where there's just an earnest, good character. And maybe I'm just old fashioned in a lot of ways, but like, would it kill Hollywood just to make a movie where there's just a good guy and he's not some complicated bad guy with a bad streak?
It's very funny to see you making this complaint while you're wearing a Columbia Performance Fishing Gear shirt, because this is definitely the kind of attire that a guy who wants there to just be, we just need more good guys in cinema.
I know. We need. This is great. Yeah, I'm really sending a mixed message here. But like I think you're right. I think there is, because it's always swings. You know, I mean, horror movies are making a comeback. Mm-hmm. I think I wouldn't surprise, but it can't come from the studios. It can't come from studios.
No,
it's got to be Netflix.
It's got to be indie.
It's got to be it's got to be truly, and I'm not talking A24 or Annapurna or anything like that. It has to be a genuine indie.
We got to get back to like Kevin Smith in Clerks in the early 90s
that
level
would be
of
great.
like.
I would love if they made movies like that now.
I think, you know, it's interesting because I feel like, from my perspective at least, there has been sort of in comedy, there has been sort of the swing of like, there was a time when certainly everybody wanted things to be really serious, and not necessarily serious in like tone, but like confessional about yourself, very personal. I think that's probably a better way to put it than serious. Uh-huh. Seriousness in comedy doesn't really jive. Mm-hmm. And now we have had like, I think that peaked with like Nanette and the backlash to Nanette and all of the current, like the ways that people are talking about comedy now is like important. Yeah. I think that's ridiculous.
Anytime anyone describes a piece of art as important, I don't go, I know it's bad. I know I'm not going to like it.
And I think that we are, in some degree, like the comedians who I really like, and I think that they're starting to break through more to the mainstream, are really people who are just like unabashedly silly and like making jokes just to like make a joke.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if that's a trend that's going to continue in comedy, but also if that's going to translate to like the entertainment industry at large, where like, I mean, even, you know, Abbott Elementary. Do you watch Abbott Elementary at all?
I haven't, but I've heard some really good things about it.
I had heard a lot of good things about it. I did not get on board with it until very recently. I just hadn't watched it. Mm-hmm. And I finally watched it. And I think it's like, it's a really, really good show. And it does have some political messagey kind of themes to it, because it's talking about obviously like how underfunded public education and public schools are. Yeah. But it's doing that. It's doing that in a way where it's not like what you might expect a sitcom from like the mid 2000s or like the mid 2010s to do, where it's like, we're going to hit you over the head and do like a Nurse Jackie version of this.
Yeah, we're just going to be like, that's because it's so true, because there's been so many TV shows where they're just like, hey, do you get it? You get it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, do you get it?
You get it?
You get it?
Schools don't have enough money.
Yeah, do you get it?
And instead of doing that, that shows up. That's a through line. Mm-hmm. But also there's a lot of jokes that are just ridiculous in the show. Like Gritty shows up as a character in the season 2 premiere. And there's a whole through line about how a guy like has the worst taste in food and like is eating in his car to avoid all of his coworkers roasting him for his bad food choices.
Yeah, well, that sounds great.
And it is. And I think that like that's the kind of silliness and levity that we need in comedic entertainment. And I think that like that provides the escape that maybe the rest of the entertainment industry will like
I
swing back
agree.
to.
You have to have an escape from reality.
Yeah.
You have to have that. And right now, I think it's hard for people to escape reality in movies.
Yeah.
Without being constant. Like that's why if whenever anybody does like a COVID TV episode or they mention it in a movie, I'm just like, why? Why do you need to? Everyone knows about it. Everyone is miserable by this. You don't need to be reminded of it. You know?
I think this is my plea to Hollywood. Stop it. Cut it out.
Yeah.
Except for Quentin Tarantino.
Except for Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino can make Quentin Tarantino presents The Sound of Music, and then that's it. And then we're back to pure escapism from now on.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that would break Hollywood in the best way possible.
Yeah, agreed. Hunter.
Yes.
This has been a very entertaining episode.
I agree.
And I don't think I don't agree with you, but like I see your point.
Yeah,
and I think that
listen, I'm on the wrong side of history here. I don't want to convince anyone. I'm in my opinion, it's probably wrong, but I just feel so strongly about it.
You got to stick with it.
Yeah.
And I get it. And this is the hottest. This is a hot take. And I appreciate you going public with this.
Living my truth, you might say. That's
what we do. That's what we hope to do here at Blockbusting, is help people live their truths.
Live my truth as a man who hates quite possibly the most loved movie of all time.
Where can the listeners find you on the internet if they want to check out what you got going on?
At WH Patterson on Instagram. I make a lot of videos where I'm a big UFC fan, so I make fun of UFC a lot, and UFC fans do not have the best sense of humor, so the comment sections are always hilarious. Other than that, that's really kind of my main focus right now. It's just pissing off MMA fans.
Sweet deal. You can find me at Diet J on all the social media. Follow at Blockbusting Pod for this podcast specifically. If you like the show, please consider supporting on Patreon. We got a few more patrons this month. Thank you so much. Shout out to Amanda and Molly and Marcelina. And if you subscribe at $5 a month, you get access to the full JFlix library, which new things just dropping in there we got right now. Are you familiar with the show Taskmaster at all?
I've heard of it, and I've been told to watch it.
Okay, it is a brilliant British TV show. They have a lot of seasons on YouTube for free. There is a current season that just started airing, and I have access to it, and I'm putting it on my drive as we go along. So if you want to see the new season of Taskmaster, as close to live as you're going to get it here in the States, JFlix is a great way to find that out.
Excellent.
And that's it. Hunter, thanks again.
Thanks, Jay.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.